All right, really quick, folks. I just want to apologize for that. As you can tell, the camera kind of a little hot, but we're gonna get back into it and kind of go back to where I left off. So, you know, going through that process, working at Bally's, straight from the streets to personal training, it was definitely an experience. I will say that when you're dating the wrong person, at that because at the time you met her, Denise. So the wrong person can really fuck up opportunities.
A damper on what you got going on.
Yeah.
How you pursue your happiness.
Yeah. So kind of going through those ups and downs and directions and things like that. Needless to say, my stint of two something years at Valley Toll Fitness came to an end about 2008, and then that's when I kind of got into like side hustle construction. So it kind of explains how I ended up doing remodels and shit like that in Hawaii and various different places throughout the life. But anyway, I think it was like 2009 I moved out here, contacted with you, and probably like not too later wound up homeless for the first time. Not my last, but my first time. So, going through those struggles from like 2010 to about like right before my birthday in 2011, driving the cab. I would help people out in the gym, still work out. I mean, that's the one thing, regardless of what I had going on or how bad things got, I still continue to push. So around 2011, what made a change was I ended up quitting that taxi shit. If you remember, at the time it was AAB Athletic Club, and then turned into Sport Club AB. But I got picked up by that Client Trainers startup gym, and there is where I learned, I had a work ethic. I felt like it was my second chance to get back in the game, and
you kind of took off again from there.
Yeah, so I was kind of getting back on kind of like, I want to say, started slowly kind of getting into the bodybuilding mentality, wanted to really kind of do it, but again, no direction. Internet was still fairly new. I mean, they had like YouTubes and stuff, but fitness, as far as information, health and all that stuff, didn't really, get into play till later on. But right around that time, just going through that process, and you were pretty much, I would come by throughout that duration of times. You stopped by the apartment and everything, and I can say that, from my experiences with that company, they definitely took advantage of me a lot and robbed me of not only what I was worth, but just literally robbed me financially. I can't sit there and say it was all bad, because that's where I started making my name, and people knowing who I am, and working with different various clients. In fact, that's where I met Craigie C, was through Client Trainers.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so that's how we kind of started rocking. And I think for a short stint, you were coming by and we were hitting the weights just a little bit, but
small. Yeah.
You kind of like, I guess, working all that other stuff with the cab. Just you had your own thing going on. So not wanting to ever go through that homeless shit, because I was homeless for what, almost like two something years.
Wow.
Like once in a while I would live with you, or I wind up at sleeping in the car, or got to a point where I sleep in a building, or wherever I had to go, but that gym, working out and still training, was that was my drug.
That's the mentality you focused on.
Yeah, so at that time, I think it was like 2013, February 1st, as a matter of fact, I called you after I walked out. I said, fuck this, I couldn't take it no more.
Enough.
And I got enough with Sport Club AB. At the time, I was dating a local teacher out here, and I called her after I told you, because I think you came by the apartment.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out for the day.
It sounds about right.
I think. Until she got off work, and then I went to her house and stuff and everything. But next day I ended up working out I ended up getting hired on at Palmdale Fitness, and that's actually the rival company, because at the time, before it became Sport Club, it was AB Athletic Club, the guy that ended up owning Palmdale Fitness, they were partners, but the owner of the training company really fucked him royally, so it turned really ugly.
Got really nasty, and I'm sure
Which in hindsight, I should have understood this and saw this, but because these guys gave me an opportunity, you understand that street ground, background loyalty shit, which we're loyal to a fucking fault. Obviously I rode with them in what way made sense.
Yeah.
So I went over there, and that's where I met like Rob Simpson. That's when I got heavy with Righteous Sports Nutrition. My sponsors now. That's where like my career kind of took off a little differently. Around, I think I kind of went through a downward spiral because complications in life and Jason making not wise choices in his decisions, was kind of hung up over the teacher, because I ended up breaking off to go back with the next. Kind of sound like something Tooth would do.
It happens, dude. It happens to the best of us.
So anyway, from that chapter, I think I ended up going with you to Six Flags.
Oh yeah.
Now, at this time, because it was a long while when I, going into this park, and even though I was, as far as like definition, guts and symmetry wasn't there, I had a little bit of size, from, because I was trying to do the bodybuilding.
Just you were really beefed up.
Yeah, so certain things didn't fit right no more.
Yeah, but you did it anyways, and I laughed my ass off, but you did it.
Oh, wow, I was screaming and cussing you out?
All the rides.
Yeah. So, but that was one of those times that you were looking out for me because I was kind of in a dark place.
Well, that's what we do, man. If somebody's down, you try to bring a brother out and help him out. And positive goes a long way, dude.
So, let's fast forward, now it's 2014. No, right before 2014. It was the day after I did. I picked up my client Brian Chase, a great guy who became my client, a really good friend. He was also the radio host of 106.3, the radio station out here, K-Mix.
That's where DJ Craig's at, right?
No, he's at the Heat, but both
Craig
Brian and Craig knew each other.
Yeah.
So to go from one radio personality to another, in being two different gyms, I actually went on his radio show. Brian invited me to actually do radio.
Oh, wow.
And back in the day, we actually dreamed about doing this because once upon a time, it may not look like it, but we used to rap and we were really good at it. We just didn't have direction. Again, you're kind of understanding when I said the big thing about direction. When you don't have direction and the right people in place, it really complicates what you want to do. So to be on radio
kind of stops the movement.
Yeah. So to be on radio, and it was for Thanksgiving, and it was about about like what to do for the holidays and be healthy and all that stuff.
Okay.
So next thing you know, I do a photo because I was wearing the Righteous shirt, and at the time that's where Universal Fitness had a beef with Righteous Sports Nutrition for dumb shit. Again, things I should be noticing when it's out of stupidity, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, these guys were really kind of like, the Waltons really kind of took a real shine to me. So that's...
And the Waltons are part of what?
Righteous Sports Nutrition, the Walton family.
Okay.
So, which Righteous Sports Nutrition is located in the city of Palmdale. Pretty much, you could say, technically 22nd Street.
And I'm a big fan of Righteous. If you see me, I'm always rocking the wear, so...
Pretty much. Same here. Well, actually, I rock a lot now because of all the sponsorships and different various things I got going on. But, so I took a picture. It went on Facebook. They saw that. They fired me literally 2 days later. So here I am, kind of like running out of gyms now to go to and be a trainer. And it was, I'll never forget, it was January 25th. No, sorry, January 16th. Powerhouse Gym Lancaster. They just had private trainers, but you just did your thing. Even though it was a normal gym, they just had private trainers. You just pay a little fee, for training your clients, and you keep it pushing. So I went independent for the first time.
I think I actually met up with you there a few times. and we hit some weight. So
And yeah, another one of those old school kick ass.
and
You
I
know,
like that place. Yeah.
no fuckery, no nonsense. So
By the way, you gotta get some more of those out here.
you never know. One day we might work on that. Well, actually, in fact, if you think about it, you know,
I mean, besides where Rob's at, you know,
and then you have where Elmer is, you know, the Lock It Out barbell, but they do a little bit of bodybuilding, but it's mostly powerlifting out there.
yeah.
So, but that's neither here or there. So to kind of get back into the journey of this, so I'm back into personal training, independent now. Had no idea how this was going to play out, but my old clients started coming back. And that's when I started really getting serious into wanting to bodybuild. So, you know, I did the best I could with what I knew, eating my food, of course, taking certain items. That's part of bodybuilding, though. I mean, does it have to be when you're using any type of gear or steroids or anything like that? No, but
But it goes along. It kind of helps go along with the process. Would you say? Or
it is part of the game, but it's not something that you have to do.
it's not a mandatory.
No, not if your diet and your ability of genetics and growth, but it is part of is part of the game. You
But
know, I'd be lying to people if I didn't.
So
say
it has helped out. in
Yeah,
the
well,
process.
it has, but there's times that you wouldn't even you could tell that I was putting on a lot of mass in a really quick period of time. But one of the things I could say is I really didn't have my diet really
Dialed in.
dialed in, and it's not just even for cutting; it's even for putting on quality muscle tissue. So there'd be some times where I'll eat maybe like 3 or 4 times instead of like 6, 7, or 8. And meals not being as clean, but for the most part, still trying to make it work and everything like that. So